Oh man. Breathing!
Yeah, indeed.
Do your ears, like from the mask, start feeling weird, like at the end of the day?
They don't feel weird, but it makes my glasses fall off, which is kind of annoying.
Does it make your glasses foggy?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting down this morning with Michael Van Betchu, who is a drummer. And
Indeed.
just wanted to add a little bit of zest in that introduction. So why don't you say who you are, what you're doing, why we're talking to you, and why you matter, and answer the questions of the meaning of the universe and all of that.
First of all, the meaning of the universe is 42.
Ah.
Yeah, so I'm Mike. I've been drumming for pretty much as long as I can remember in various different bands, a few recording projects. And yeah, I'm here at our studio in Regina recording the new album.
This is the first time we've done an album in 8 years. So how does it feel getting back in the saddle?
Oh, the second I stepped into the studio for the first time last week, I was just like, home. Yeah, it was like being just back at it again, and it made it feel that much more real.
Compared to the last album that we did in 2012, which is, for anyone who might have listened to it, it's like a pretty upbeat, like rock album, pretty straightforward. We were 25 when we recorded that album. A lot has changed. So how do you feel about the total change of direction for this album? Because it is quite different, right?
Yeah, it's almost like a totally different band. I mean, we have a few of the same people working on it, and even some of the same people on the producing side who worked with us on our last album. It's been an interesting change, but a good change. I feel like this is a little more modern in some ways, and fits with the current style of music more so than if we were to make a new version of our last album.
Like with all our trap beats and autotune. That's not happening, by the way. So how do you feel about your own drumming in this album as opposed to before? Like, how has it changed?
Very different style, but a different style of music needs a different style of drumming. Trying to be a little more consistent, solid beats, fewer flourishes and little fills and things, because it's more of a poppy album. So it's not necessarily that hardcore rock with everything fast. There's some slow pieces, there's some really light, soft pieces, but still trying to add in intricacies where they fit. Well, it's like you don't toss Danny Carey into a Beatles cover band.
So when you're writing drums for this album, and that's one thing I want you to talk about as well, because one major difference between this album and our previous one is those songs we recorded the first time in 2012 were well rehearsed. We played dozens upon dozens of shows, and we showed up at the studio with parts 100% written, and it was just a matter of like getting a good take. But this time you're actually like writing every song pretty much as we go. So how has that been? It's
been interesting. Because yeah, just like you said, last time we came into the studio with all of our songs fully ready, and it was just hit the record button until we got a good take. This time, many of the parts are being written in the studio, and that's not something I've ever experienced before. So it's been a change, but it's been a lot of fun, because we still have the chance to bounce ideas off of each other. When we have 3 or 4 people in the studio, do we like this part? Do we want to change that part? Everything's been fluid.
Piano and vocals, and the drums, the purpose is more to like add darkness as opposed to add rhythm.
Yeah. That's more what you're looking for. That's the one.
Do you find it's like higher pressure though to come up with something good?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. It's higher pressure because you're writing, in front of everyone, and you're writing in the studio with the recording artist there. But it's lower pressure in the sense that when we had everything fully written, if you weren't nailing it in the first couple takes, then it's like, come on, I've been playing this song for 3 years. Why can't I get it?
So the self-judgment ends up being a lot stronger, but in this case, it's more fluid.
Yeah, so it's So it's different, but not better or worse.
So we've been working in the studio with Chris Dimas, who is a super talented drummer.
I feel like I can go without soda, but once I get into coffee, I know I'll have to have it like every day.
Forever.
And I don't want to commit yet.
Is it like remotely intimidating to be drumming around Chris, by the way?
It is insanely intimidating because he's been an award-winning drummer since he was like 14, and he's incredibly talented. I didn't know how talented he was going to be as a sound engineer, recording artist. I had no doubts in him, but seeing his level of skill and the way that he works with people, it's amazing.
So what's your favorite part?
Exactly.
So we're gonna need a band with like 8 people, like library voices, and one person will just have one job in the entire show, and it's to play the rototoms.
And this is that guy.
It's like having like a tambourine person. It's a very specific job. Hey there, so I am sitting down with Chris Dimas, whose home we are recording our second album with. So I'm glad to have you on the team, and I'd love if you introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Chris. I'm doing the spacebar pushing and the microphone placing.
How's it been for you working on this album as an album we've kind of talked about with Mike already, one that hasn't been fully written. It's still kind of being written as it's being recorded. So how's that for you?
It's interesting because sometimes when working with a band that like everything is already written and all you have to do is go in and play it and then leave. Mm-hmm. And in this scenario, after we're done a part, the question is, okay, what else can go there? Mm-hmm. Does anyone have any ideas of what else can go there? And that's kind of cool to me. I like that process of, it's kind of unknown what the finished song is going to actually sound like.
So thoughts on that? This is the first time you guys have heard me play that.
Pretty kind of proggy.
Yeah, it's cool.
You like the direction?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, well, good.
Okay, so I had that as chorus.
Should I do it the whole time? And that would become your sort of like, that becomes your warm sound that would fade into?
I liked what you started with for the chorus.
Yeah.
And I think when you did the proggy thing for the verses, I thought that was sweet. But I think you should go back to And it's nice that we have all of us here that can play multiple instruments and we can all kind of give our 2 cents on where we think things could be. So I think it's an awesome process. One that like is really tough to say when it's actually finished, but that's the beautiful part about it.
So how do you feel about being able to collaborate in a creative way too? Because for this album, you're making your mark on it, not just in a recording and mixing way, but also you are adding a lot of creative additions.
Yeah, I love it. That's why I do the recording thing, because I enjoy making records, and I enjoy, I hear things too when the song is being played. I hear things that, oh geez, if this was my band, I would put this in. So thankfully, you guys are all very open to ideas and trying new things, and I think that in the end will make it as good as it can be.
So like recording during COVID for you, like how's that been different from your regular?
Well, I remember when it first hit, this makes it sound like it happened years ago.
Yeah.
It was only like
back in the day.
3 months ago. It was really weird, and then it was just like 3 months of no recording. So it went from like almost every day to 3 months of no recording. So like I actually got some sleep. I became a human being for a little bit. I ate some vegetables. I don't get a chance to do that often. Everything's been back to normal now, in the sense of like we can have multiple people in the studio at a time and everyone's wearing masks and taking precautions and being safe. And I haven't had anyone be uptight about wearing a mask, which is awesome because you shouldn't be. You should wear a mask.
Yeah, it's an important contribution to the cause. So one thing that I wanted to ask you also is how do you feel about the fact that your band Bleecker was supposed to be touring the state? You were supposed to be on like a really major tour across the United States. Is that like a big bummer? I'm like extremely sad. It would have been done now, but it would have been from May 22nd till June 22nd, all in the U.S. And I bet, if I was a gambling man, and I am, I bet that we would have had another tour right after it and kind of went from like May to September, which is what we used to do. But we're a good consolation prize, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually so happy to be. I love the city we're in, Regina, and I love the people here, and I don't take any time here for granted because, you know, when the time does come to tour again, I'll miss home a lot, and take this opportunity to make some great records and, you know, meet some new people like you guys.
So one final question before we wrap it up. I would love for you to tell my audience just how absolutely annoying I am to work with.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think it's been crazy to work on your singing. I think your singing is terrific, and the fact that how good you are at layering your voice so many times.
I do weird things when I record, Rob, just so you know. I'm like, with my arms.
Is Rob filming?
But I'm like, and I'm doing a lot of like gripping with my hands as I sing this one because I feel like that gives me like tension to sing. Like the anger, it's just like making a fist. I'm very glad that for the most part you guys don't see what I'm doing out here. My blood is beating my heart. My blood is beating. Let me try it again. I'm just playing around with ideas. Getting the pitch and the oomph in this one is tough. My blood is beating my heart. My blood is beating my heart.
When people watch this video and then go back and listen, they'll be able to actually tell how many times you layered your voice and how crazy of a feat that is to be able to do it like so well each time and in pitch and the right length. The other thing is your piano playing is terrific. I've never, you know, gotten to see such talent like that, and yeah, there's a few songs especially where I was like, whoa. Yeah, you could put me in front of a piano and lock me in a room for about 30 years and I'd have no chance. So, yeah.
Well, that was a very generous answer. I was trying to set you up to start trash talking me.
No,
live,
I am quite a bit of a trash talker, but I got no chirps.
I'll work harder on being a diva then.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sitting down with me and Mr. Arachnid over here and having this conversation, and we'll be having many more of the same in the coming days and weeks.
Okay, mask up.
There was a time where I ate extra butter popcorn every night before bed for like a year.
And you lived to tell the tale.
Yeah, still almost do it almost every night.